Hello and welcome to Surupur. If you guys are new to the channel and if you don't know me, my name is Yogita Sharma and I'm a software engineer at Careem. This is one of the videos for the REST API mini series, and today we are going to discuss GET method or GET HTTP method and how to use it to create REST APIs. In previous video, you have seen that we have discussed how to create resources using POST method. In this video, we are going to refer same kind of resources and we'll try to fetch those resources using GET methods. Now, in order to use a GET method, we have to take care of few things. First, the URI has to have a path parameter. You have to mention the ID of the resource that you want to fetch. You might think, or you might say that I can mention the ID as a query parameter also, or I can mention the ID in the body of the request also, but that's not the practice to follow. You should always mention the ID of the resource that you want to fetch as a path parameter. And usually in GET request, there is no request body, because actually when you are using GET methods, you're trying to take information from the server. You're not putting any information from your end to the server. This is like a fetching operation or getting something from the server. So it's best not to use the request body of GET request at all. So what do we have in request? We will have the URI, in this case customer, the ID as a path parameter 1 of the customer that we have created using POST, and we are just going to use the GET method and similar headers as we have discussed in the previous video, and you can see the same headers we are using here as well. There is nothing new. Once we send this request, let's see what happens. We receive the response with a response code of 200, and you see in the response we have received the whole customer object. It has all the details of customer object along with the ID, the time it was created, and so on. This is how we fetch one customers or one resources data using GET API. Now, let's say we don't have just one customer in our database, we have a lot of customers, and you want to fetch all those customers at one go in one API itself. In that case, what would you do? In that case, we might have to get rid of this path parameter. So we will just try to fetch using /customers and we will not use any path parameter. In that case, as you can see, we will get a list of all the customer resources that we have created. Obviously, if you have say 100 or 1000 or 10,000 customers, you cannot fetch all of them in one API itself or in the response of one API itself. And that is why we use something known as pagination or limits. And you can see in the query, we use something as !limit equal to 10. That means just return first 10 customers or first 10 resources. Now, you would think, where do I return first 10 resources from? Do I return it from top 10 or bottom 10, or how? For that case, there is something known as offset. So offset tells you from which counting the response has to be written. If I say offset is 0 and limit is 10, that means I want first 10 customer resources. If I say the offset is 100 and limit is 10, that means I want customers from 100 to 110. I'm going to create a dedicated video on filtering and pagination, but this is just to give you a basic idea of how to use different query parameters to limit the body of response we are fetching from the server. Now let's say I want to get all the customers whose name starts with ABC or whose name contains ABC. In that case, I can use a URI like this where the query parameter has !name equal to ABC. Now, this query parameter name equal to ABC is going to filter on all the customer names, will match ABC with all the names, and if the names have ABC, will return only those customers. Again, if the numbers of these customers is huge, we can limit the results by using the limit query parameter. So this is how we fetch the list of resources. Now, the next case, you want to fetch orders for customer 1. What would you do then? In that case, we will use customer's path parameter to identify customer and /orders. So here is how the URI is going to look like: customer /1/orders. That means I want to fetch all the orders for customer 1. And as you can see in the response, we get all the orders for customer 1. Again, the same thing, if you want to limit it, we can use the query parameter !limit equal to 1020 and just limit the response. Please mind that the limiting factor or the implementation of limit is actually implemented on the backend. It's not like that you will just send limit equal to 10 and the API will return 10 resources, because if the implementation has not been done on the backend, then it will still return you the whole list. So this implementation sits on the backend and not on the front end. As you can see, right now we have just seen all the cases where we are getting response from the server in case of all the get queries like customers, orders, and the response code that we get here is 200. Now let's see what are the errors that could happen in these cases. Let's say you are trying to fetch a customer and you gave some ID like 6789 and there is no customer in the database with this ID. In that case, the server should return a response code as 404 or entity not found. This just goes on to say that the server doesn't have any resource like that, and that's why you're getting 404. 404 means not found, the entity is not found, or basically there is no resource with respect to this URI that you are trying to fetch data for. So these are the two response codes which are usually most common and frequently used in case of GET APIs. Now, there can be a question, can GET API return 400? Yes, if GET API on the backend is not expecting any request body, but you still do send something in the request payload, you might get a 400 if it is coded that way on the backend. So a good practice would be to not send anything in the GET request payload, and also not to design your APIs in a way that such that they expect data in the request body in case of GET requests. Now, coming to idempotency, is GET an idempotent request? Yes. Because if you will send same GET request multiple times, it is going to return with same result. This is the property of idempotency, that by sending the same request, you cannot change the state of the server. The state of the server remains the same and it gives you the same response. GET requests are heavily used in various applications, and in fact, every data or every piece of data that you see in so many UIs is a result of GET request. Whenever you are designing GET APIs, you should be very careful about following the standards that we have just discussed, and also keep an eye on the limit of the data you're sending or the amount of the data that you're sending. Because if someone sends a lot of GET requests to your system might get attacked, or your system might not be as performant as you expect it to be. So security in terms of GET request is very important. Obviously, we are going to have a different video on the security of APIs, but this is just a point to remember whenever you're designing GET APIs. Now, covering all of it in summary, this is how the URIs of GET request look. There is no request body. This is how the response body looks, and this is how the headers look. All this code and some other resources have been linked in the description. If you have any doubts or any queries regarding whatever we have discussed today, please feel free to add them in comments. And if you think I have missed any part, or if there was anything else you were looking for in this video, try to comment that as well so that I can cover it up in the upcoming videos. Till then, take care. See you in the next video.